We are a body like Bruce, and we bring you the most extraordinary martial artist of our time, Bruce Lee. This is the celebrated life of the Golden Dragon, based on the award-winning documentary Bruce Lee in his own words. Never before published family photos, including rare pictures from Bruce's childhood in Hong Kong, behind the scenes at Bruce's movies. Edited by John Little, prefaced by his daughter Shannon Lee Cadwell, it's her married name. Foreword by Linda Lee Cadwell, his once wife. Bruce Lee, the celebrated life of the Golden Dragon, text by Bruce Lee, selected and edited by John Little, based on the award-winning Warner Brothers documentary Bruce Lee in his own words by John Little. Contents. Preface. Bruce Lee was an artist in the true sense of the word. In his 32 years on the planet, he produced volumes of writing on a multitude of subjects. He developed his own system of martial art. He acted in, choreographed, directed and wrote for film and television. He was a Cha-Cha champion of Hong Kong, and he was a father, a husband, a friend and a teacher. This is a tall order for anyone, and certainly we all have our own pursuits, but in an appreciation of all this accomplishment we can become inspired, and all he accomplished directly influenced and culminated in his understanding of his art and ultimately himself. This book is a literary realization of the documentary Bruce Lee in his own words. A film, we suggest you go watch it, is a beautiful collage of statements and examples. It's an amazing thing for word and deed to walk so gracefully hand in hand. It is his daughter's sincere hope that in this medium you, the reader, can be touched imperceptibly, if not dramatically, by the beauty of a life truly lived and sculpted, ever a work in progress. Here in these pages is an originator, and as you will see in venturing into the realm of individual thought, the originator brings us closer to the commonplace, the individual closer to us all. Bruce Lee said, "I want to think of myself as a human being." It sounds so simple, and truly it is. And maybe in striving for this simple thing, first and foremost, he shows us the path of our individual journey. Growing up as Bruce Lee's daughter, Shannon had often been daunted by the example set forth for her to follow. But as she grew older, she found a greater understanding of the dedication of but a man and the necessity for her to do but one thing: follow the path of her own journey and live in the flow of life's stream. Shannon Lee Cadwell. Forward. Probably from Linda Lee, his one-time wife. A great many years have passed since her husband Bruce died in 1973. At first her devastation was complete. Had it not been for the two small products of our union, Brandon and Shannon, the wound may have consumed her. But the wheel of life continued its relentless turning, and in the next 2 decades their children grew stronger, happy and competent to encounter the world. Bruce's memory has enlarged her heart and enabled her to find a rich and rewarding life. It had been a long time, however, since she recalled Bruce's voice, his laugh, his expression, his gestures, the very real Bruce that she knew and loved. In John Little's brilliant piece, Bruce Lee in his own words, her Bruce is vividly alive again, almost as if he is in the room, so real that she could imagine he was actually speaking to her. As she watched the film of Bruce, the man, not the actor, tears came to her eyes, and she was transported back to that time when their lives were full of dreams coming true. Listening to Bruce express himself honestly and openly about his beloved philosophy of martial arts, his acting career, his family and his future, was for a few minutes like nothing had ever changed. But of course on July 20, 1973, with Bruce's death, change did happen. What you are fortunate to see of Bruce in the film and in this related volume is the essence of Bruce, and then there was no more. A few years after, their son Brandon Lee left to join his father, and with his tragic passing, there was but one child left to carry on. They are not alone, however, for in the last 25 years, Bruce's legacy has endured, and their memories have been enriched by the stories of Bruce's art and philosophy, which have influenced the lives of so many all around the world. Chief among those who have enriched their memories is John Little, who, as historian and chronicler of Bruce's work, has adopted Bruce's passion as his own. In projects such as his film in this book, John has caused the legacy to grow and thrive. and thus has allowed Bruce's work to create positive change in the lives of many more who may not have been exposed to Bruce earlier. For John Little, the writer, the temptation may have been great to interpret or expound upon Bruce's words, but for John the philosopher it took restraint and ultimately respect for Bruce to let Bruce speak for himself. The Lee family is grateful to John Little for his soulful presentation of Bruce. It's been a very long time and they rejoice in seeing Bruce as they knew him once again. Linda Lee Cadwell. Introduction by John Little. Much to his surprise and delight, his documentary film Bruce Lee, in his own words, quickly became something much more than a poignant tribute to a man who died tragically young. He was fortunate that immediately upon seeing a rough cut of the film, Warner Brothers snatched it up for distribution, making it the premium in the 25th anniversary re-release of Bruce Lee's greatest film, Into the Dragon, in May of 1998, and so forth. Bruce Lee believed that we can communicate with each other and fully only when we honestly express ourselves. And with this counsel foremost, it was obvious to John Little that the best way to communicate the essence of Bruce Lee, the human being, was to fashion for him a platform from which he could forthrightly express himself. That is to say, the best way to make a film or book about Bruce Lee was to simply get out of his way and allow him to make it. Bruce Lee is his own best ambassador, and hearing from him directly, speaking on issues that were significant to him, is far more substantive and meaningful than going the typical documentary route of simply having a bunch of talking heads sputtering away decades after the fact about what he was like. It was John Little's sincerest hope that the film and this book would clear the decks of misperceptions and serve to introduce you to a different Bruce Lee, the real one you might otherwise remain unacquainted with. Bruce Lee was not merely an actor, that was only one of his professions. He was a man who single-handedly created a new genre of film, a profound thinker and philosopher who amassed over 2,500 books in his personal library, and an avid researcher in psychology and psychotherapy, Eastern and Western philosophy and poetry, the health sciences and physical fitness, in addition to being the innovator of a revolutionary approach to martial art that allows personal freedom and seeking out of one's own path to replace centuries-old dogma and traditions. Without question, the most important aspect of Bruce Lee's character was his unconditional love for humanity, most particularly his wife Linda and their two children, Brandon and Shannon. Ironically, no film or documentary prior to Bruce Lee, in his own words, ever focused on these human qualities, preferring instead to highlight Lee as the greatest fighter of the 20th century. He chose to use black and white for the film because it is, he believed, a far more powerful medium when the topic is a serious one, allowing the audience to focus on what is being said and on the expression of the individual's eyes and gestures, without the distraction of various colours meandering through the scene. The film profiles a relaxed and contemplative, although at times highly animated Bruce Lee talking about his life, art and philosophy. To obtain the audio and video materials of Lee speaking in his own voice was a task requiring extensive sleuthing in 3 countries, Hong Kong, America and Canada. Lee's widow, Linda Lee Cadwell, provided additional home movie audio and photographic materials from the Lee estate. Unfortunately, only one video interview with Bruce Lee has survived, aptly titled Bruce Lee The Lost Interview, 1994, Little Wolf Creative Group, and of the 3 or so audio recordings of conversations with Bruce Lee in existence, only one was of sufficient quality to justify its incorporation into the film, and so forth. John Little adds here at the end, he was keenly aware that with each Bruce Lee project that he's dealing with a man's legacy. His hope was that one day when Bruce Lee's grandchildren asked their mother, what was Grandpa really like? Shannon will reach for copies of Bruce Lee in his own words in this book and tell them, here, why don't you see for yourselves? John Little. A chronology of the life of Bruce Lee, from his birth to his passing. early years. From his birth, the usual biographical information that you've seen before. Who's your character? Up until his school life. Through his school life. Chinese children don't argue with their parents. No, my father never struck me, though my mother sometimes spanked me good. But man. Who's this Agnes? Apparently she was adopted or something. Not really sure. Here he is with his father. And practicing Kung Fu, probably Wing Chun. Or he dance or something like that. Hollywood Beckoned, who is in the Green Hornet. There's Cater. You know why I got that Green Hornet job? Bruce Lee says. I'll tell you why I got that Green Hornet job. Because the hero's name was Britt Reed, and he was the only Chinese in all of California who could pronounce Britt Reed. That's why. Here's the creator of it. That'll be Val, and of course Bruce Lee. James Garner, who acted as Winslow Wong, that's kind of an assassin. Longstreet with James Franciscus, where he got to do his thing with Dean Martin, the singer. Probably on the set with that movie which had Sharon Tate in it. Sharon Tate, who was killed by the Manson girls, Manson family. She might have been married to Roman Polanski and pregnant at the time, apparently. So Bruce Lee was supposed to be at that house or something, but for some reason he didn't go there. Lucky for those Mansons, he would have kicked some ass. Here is with Sharon Tate, by the looks of it. Very cool 60s clothing. He was hip, very hip. Nora Mia, she was very beautiful in those days. Very pretty. This guy reminds me of Wolfman. Who's that guy? Wolfman Jack? Yeah. This guy's a pretty good actor. Do you see him in some of those Bruce Lee clone movies? As the boss, with that guy that's always the bad guy, you know, the villain. Yes, boss, that guy. It's this guy here, who happens to be the brother of the guy in Fist of Fury, the Japanese dojo instructor, the fat guy with the glasses and the sword. He gets killed by the sword. It's just Enter the Dragon, Way of the Dragon. Yeah, he might be a Way, like Low Way. The brothers, right? Okay, so this would be Way of the Dragon, Into the Dragon, pose. Comedic scene. This guy's really funny. Oh, that guy. He's funny as. Always the goon, always the buffoon, you know. Brilliant actor. Game of Death, up against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's about 7'2" or something. Really, really tall. There is a difference between self-actualization and self-image actualization. Self-actualization is the important thing. Go towards self-actualization rather than self-image actualization. Search within yourself for honest self-expression. Bruce states here, I know we all admit that we are intelligent beings, yet we wondered how many of us have gone through some sort of self-inquiries and or self-examination of all these ready-made facts or truths that are crammed down our throats ever since we acquired the capacity and the sensibility to learn. Though we possess a pair of eyes, most of us do not really see in the true sense of the word. True seeing in the sense of choiceless awareness leads to new discovery, and discovery is one of the means to uncovering our potentiality. However, when these same eyes are used in observing or discovering other people's faults, we are quick with readily equipped condemnation. For it's easy to criticize and break down the spirit of others, but to know yourself takes a lifetime. And there he is with Linda. The kid's probably around there somewhere. Instead of Into the Dragon, was it Robert Klaus or Fred Weintraub? And Bruce Lee directing the action scenes. The director, Shere Khan. More stills from Into the Dragon. Looks like there's Bruce Lee here. John Saxon. The past is history and only the future can give you happiness. So everybody must prepare for their future and create their own future. Into the Dragon quote, it is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger, as you will miss all that heavenly glory. Supposedly this guy went on to create the cartoon Scooby-Doo. Let's read about that. Not really sure. This guy thought it was good, Kung Fu or something like that, tried to take on Bruce Lee or something. Soon got taught a lesson, something like that, along those lines. Into the Dragon again. Scenes from that. Everybody thought he had better go into physical education since the only extracurricular activity that Bruce was interested in from his childhood until he graduated from his secondary school was Chinese martial arts. However, I began to lose faith in the Chinese classical arts because basically all styles are prudent of dry land swimming, so my line of training moved more toward efficient street fighting with everything goes, wearing headgear, glove, chest guard, shin, knee guards, etc. I changed the name of the gist of my study to Chi Kung Do, the way of the intercepting fist or foot. Here is a Lo Wei, Sammo Hung, who tried to have a go with him on the set apparently, and got his ass kicked, basically. Yeah, they had a grudge, and then they became friends, something like that. Similar on the set of Into the Dragon. John Saxon. To bring the mind into sharp focus and to make it alert so that it can immediately intuit truth, which is everywhere. The mind must be emancipated from old habits. It must be freed, liberated from old habits, prejudices, restrictive thought process, and even ordinary thought itself. Into the Dragon. More scenes from Into the Dragon. Bruce Lee in action. Up against by wall and Into the Dragon. Totally annihilating by wall, his character. Bruce Lee in Boulogne, who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu or something like that. Quite a bulky guy, seen a lot of his movies, great actor. Compare his physique to Bruce Lee's, wow, really, really defined. Great upper body strength there. Very powerful guy. Bruce Lee in action. Yeah, look at that amazing physique. Relaxed pose, right? Look at that. Look at that muscle and muscle and muscle. Brilliant. Here's this Raymond Chow. It's got Wall. Some other guy. Be concerned with the ends, not the means. Master your own manipulation of force. One should forget oneself and learn from others. Enjoy the journey as much as the destination. Don't be restricted by your form. This guy's quick up. Mr. Lee, where's your uniform? He just like stares him down. That's quite a good scene. With his father, looks like he's practicing Tai Chi. Way of the Dragon against the Korean. Is your name Dong Long? Weird character, but yeah, it's a freaking good movie. Into the Dragon. Look at that physique. Look at that muscle, man. All muscle on muscle, right? No body fat there. Look at that. Brilliant. Certainly had an extraordinary physique. Into the Dragon. These people here, and behind the bars here, were actual homeless street people, opium smokers, etc., used as extras. Jackie Chan, stuntman, getting his ass kicked. Against Han with the claw hand, metal claw hand. Big boss. Looks like Bruce's training. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Look at that foot. Look at that long leg. Imagine getting kicked by that. Days in Hong Kong. This is Fist of Fury. Dan Innocento, one of his students and great friend. Ultimately, martial art is the expression of oneself. Here's some of Bruce Lee's philosophy. A really hairy Chuck Norris in his younger days in Way of the Dragon against Bruce Lee. 7 times karate, world karate champion, so he's pretty good. The Coliseum scene where Bruce Lee defeats Chuck Norris. And look at these beautiful photos. Family, right? And all he had to say about his relationship and his children, his wife, etc. It was a give and take situation, right? She helped him, he helped her. She changed his life, she helped develop, probably change his life. Yeah. So they were a good working team. Read this if you're in a relationship. It's really good advice. You have to apply yourself to be a family. Like Brandon, when he was a little guy. Yeah. Of course, his father teaches his martial arts at a young age. Marriage is a friendship, a partnership based solidly upon ordinary everyday occurrences. Marriage is breakfast in the morning, work during the day, the husband at his work, the wife at hers, dinner at night, and quiet evenings together, talking, reading, or watching television. Good relationship, marriage advice there. Bruce spending time with his son and teaching him martial arts. And along came Shannon. And a dog. It's a big dog, right? Oh, here's his mother, and grandma and grandson in the restaurant. Father-son time. Getting a tan. More family photos. Kids playing. Ooh, we got a beaver stash there. Looks a lot like his brother, right? With the mustache and the beard. Robert. And the epilogue. Bruce Lee in his own words. The documentary film. There's information about that. Bruce Lee, in his own words, captures the spirit and humanity of a true legend. In John Little's documentary, one ultimately comes to see that there is no distinction between Bruce Lee, the legend, and Bruce Lee, the man, because they are in fact one and the same. Brian Jameson, Warner Brothers. And here's information on the back cover of the book. It's Brandon getting a suntan, muscling up, posing, and Bruce Lee in Game of Death with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's a taller guy, 7'2". Bruce Lee leapt up there to do a kick to the head, and he also did a Lasafat kick, which is like a U, right, and his foot touched his face, pretty much up there, right? So it's very, very flexible. Okay, so we hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope it was something different and that you really enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And then go tell all your family, friends, etc. who really love Bruce Lee about this video. Share it with them. Surely, we're pretty sure they'll really enjoy it, this information on Bruce Lee. And also, if we find a link to the actual movie, find it on YouTube or something like that, we'll include it as part of the end screen as well. We'll provide the link in the trailer of the movie, Bruce Lee, in his own words, or whatever it's called, by John Little. We will, the documentary, we will include that link to it. Thank you for taking the time to watch our latest uploaded video about the legendary martial artist, legend, philosopher, father, friend, etc., Bruce Lee.